It's Black Lounge Entertainment, and the time is right with T-Pre.
Grand Rising Loungers. I hope everybody is doing as awesome as I am today. Shout out to all of you who are in the building and those who will catch the replay. We are going to have a nice little live this morning. We're going to talk about the situation going on with Nosy, Heaux and Jaguar Wright. We're also going to talk about some unpopular opinions here on Reddit. And we are going to talk about the Reddit from No Jumper and Poetik Flacco's latest debacle on there, okay? I'm going to play a quick timer for you guys so that you guys can get ready for the show. And I am looking very much forward to this show. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about Rob Kardashian as well. I did mean to add him to the thumbnail, but I think it is a lot going on with that situation. And I just wanted to touch on that with you guys. So we're going to get into the morning show right now. So again, grand rising to everybody that is in the clouds. I hope that you guys are doing as great as I am today. Make sure that you guys hit the like button on the way in. We've got lots of topics to cover this morning. We are definitely going to be talking about Poetik Flacco's latest debacle for the sector. We're also going to talk about Nosy Heaux and Jaguar Wright and their latest issue that's been happening. And I'm going to give you guys my thorough thoughts on that. Also, we're going to give some unpopular opinions, which I think I'm going to get into first. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we're also going to do some comments from viewers, okay, on the latest Poetik Flacco video that I did. So let's start with the unpopular opinions, okay? As you guys know, I used to do unpopular opinions, and I'm going to get that started again. I really enjoyed that. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that again. And I've got a couple of them for you guys today. One of them I actually relate to completely. Okay, and I'll tell you guys why once I'm done reading the actual unpopular opinion. So it says here, and hold on, let me open it up clearly. And again, make sure you guys are hitting the like button on the way in. It says, birthdays are nothing special, okay? Why are birthdays even special? What's so special about being born? Because you won the race to the egg? Literally, every human that has existed has won the race. It's just another day of the year, right? Now, there were several people that actually liked that comment, and I actually thought that comment was interesting. And it's because as a child, I didn't grow up celebrating my birthday. My mom did recognize our birthdays with a cake that she would make me for my birthday. She would always make me a double strawberry cake with strawberry icing and strawberries, fresh strawberries on top. And she would do the same for my brother. She would make him a blueberry double cake with blueberry icing and blueberries on top. She did that every year for us, even though as Jehovah's Witnesses, it was not right or wrong. It was considered wrong for us to celebrate birthdays, okay? So I kind of grew up with that idea as it was. And then I did start to celebrate my birthday. But to be honest with you, I don't make a big deal out of my birthday. That's not something I have to do every year. When usually for my birthday, I just kind of just treat it as a regular day. I do enjoy myself. I may try to pamper myself or do something like that. But those are things I kind of do all year anyway, right? So it's not necessarily a big deal to me. And that's just my opinion of it, So I shout out to the person who posted that unpopular opinion, because in all honesty, I actually do agree. Now, there was another one that I wanted to go over with you guys that I thought was pretty cool. And let me see if I can find it real quick. Okay, here it is right here. So this one I thought was pretty interesting too. And they said, normalize not normalizing every little thing. If I hear normalize this or normalize that one more time, I'm going to lose it. Most of the things are already pretty normal anyway. like giving handmade gifts. People have been doing that for ages. It's pretty normal, right? So there are a lot of things that we say, like, oh, we need to normalize doing this and we need to normalize doing that, when in actuality, do we, right? Does every little thing have to be normal or have to be considered normal? I don't think so, right? There are some things that are extraordinary. There are some things that are just over the top, right? And we can't just normalize every single thing. Sometimes in normalizing things, we're actually creating an environment where anything goes, right? And in an anything goes situation, that can become dangerous to people. So I don't know if we should be normalizing everything and saying that everything should just be completely normal, because I don't agree with that. So again, shout out to the unpopular opinion person for that one as well. Let's talk a little bit about Rob Kardashian, because what I understand is that Rob Kardashian had overdosed back in December 27th, allegedly. Okay. And he was brought to he was actually brought over to a hospital where he was unresponsive, according to news reports. And in that, nobody kind of heard about it, right? It was kind of like tucked under the rug. There wasn't much in the news in regards to this matter. It was just kind of like, yeah, no, I don't know. Okay. So I'm going to read this article to you guys and also get a little bit further into it on some information that I also heard in regards to this as well. So, and this article is coming from Your Tango. It was written on January 3rd by Alexandra Blogier. Okay. This is out of a French blog as well. And it says, fans of the Kardashian sisters are calling out the reality stars for covering up their brother Rob's purported drug overdose. Unsubstantiated reports have emerged in several media outlets, seemingly originating from posts shared by other bloggers. Now, the source alleged that Rob Kardashian overdosed on December 27th. The gossip account claims Rob, who is 35, was brought to the hospital on December 27th at around 3 a.m., writing that he arrived unconscious with a pale face and blue lips. The unsubstantiated report claims he overdosed on alcohol and oxy with traces of fentanyl found in his blood. Now, the claim further alleges that upon regaining consciousness, he stated he started crying and screaming about how Blac Chyna ruined his life and how he wanted to see his daughter instead of being locked in rehab. Aquababe claimed that Rob yelled about missing his daughter, exclaiming, "I can't enjoy time with my kid without snakes and crows monitoring my attitude and behavior." According to Aquababe's sources, Rob expressed how he wants to DIE and how celebrity life isn't for him. He allegedly ordered the 3 security guards keeping watch over him to call his mother, Kris, and 45 minutes later, Kris and Khloe did arrive at the hospital. Now, reports claim that Rob refused to actually go to rehab. And the claim states that Rob told his mother and sister that he did not want to go to rehab, instead expressing his wishes to see his child. And Aquababe reported that Kris allegedly called the hospital and directed that no information is leaked to the press, despite apparent paparazzi presence at the hospital. Rob was reportedly released from the hospital on December 30th or Saturday, December 31st. Fans noticed that the Kardashian sisters started posting about Rob and his clothing brand, Halfway Dead, to their Instagram accounts around the same date, as though to prove that Rob was alive and well. Christmas is still happening. Rob brought over all these half-dead Rick and Morty collab, Kim's voice says, as the camera pans over a cardboard box full of clothing. So from this article, guys, what I got from that, I'm just going to give my commentary on that. What I got from that article is that the Kardashians are always into covering up for their family members. I mean, it's a normal thing. A lot of family members kind of do this, right? But how the Kardashians do it is they always try to blame the Black spouse or the Black baby mother or the Black baby father for why their life is in such turmoil, aka Kim and Kanye, Khloe and Lamar, and him and Blac Chyna, right? And then even now there's even like information out where they're stating that it's Lamar's fault that Rob is on these drugs. Now that everything is being leaked and people are talking about it, now it's like, okay, now they're coming out claiming that, well, it's Lamar's fault that he's on these drugs. And it's, it's Black China's fault that he's on these drugs and everything else, instead of just accepting responsibility for their own shit, like the stuff that they actually do, right? When are the Kardashians ever going to take responsibility for anything that they've done or anything, their part in and their role in situations? So, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about in regards to him, because I thought that that was absolutely crazy. And the fact that they would be just so willing to continue to go back and forth on that situation, I thought that was wild too. And then for them to act like that doesn't exist, like this never happened, just kind of stuff that they always did. What's up, brother of a certain age? I appreciate you being in the building. You guys make sure you check out the partners whenever you get a chance, okay? It's a great podcast there. Let's go ahead and get into the comment section of the Flacco video that I did the other day. And then we are going to get into the situation that's going on with, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to talk about Nosy first. Let's go ahead and talk about Nosy and Jaguar's situation first, guys. Okay, because that situation is crazy. It was something that I was not expecting. Okay, now for some of y'all, y'all know that I do follow many content creators over in the tea sector. One of them is Nosy Heaux. She could be in all different types of sectors. Really, she's her own sector by herself. But she is a large blogger that blogs on various topics in celebrity gossip. And she also dips and dabs in the tea sector, the church sector, and many other spaces. Okay. Multiple bloggers know her and so forth. And everybody knows Jaguar Wright as a music artist. Okay. So the two of them were working together often. Nosy was kind of like putting Jaguar on the page, just letting her just speak her speech and talk about the music industry. There's a lot of stuff that Jaguar has revealed about the music industry in regards to trafficking, in regards to drugs, in regards to all kinds of stuff that is going on in Hollywood. Jaguar Wright has been the spearhead of pretty much exposing a lot of this stuff, okay? And she did it with Nosy Heaux for a long time. Nosy gave her that platform and gave her the ability to kind of speak on these things. So they had a relationship regarding that. Now, Jag has been around since Nosy had Ashley around. For those of y'all who follow Nosy Heaux, y'all are aware of Ashley, who is her ex-girlfriend. And there's a lot that has, I'll just say this. There is a lot of information that the two of these ladies have kind of shared with one another. Okay, so they're aware of very intimate details of each other's lives. Okay, so the fallout kind of happened with them, according to Jaguar Wright, because there was a conversation with Jag, Nosy, and some other content creators. And Nosy had a problem with the fact that Jag was having this conversation with these other content creators. Okay. And that, she wasn't giving this story exclusively to Nosy Heaux. Now, I got a couple thoughts on that. Number one, if you are looking for a famous person like this to be exclusive to your show, you kind of got to pay them to do that, okay? I mean, if you're not paying them to do that, which most bloggers don't pay, I just want y'all to know that. I think I've said that before, that most bloggers do not put out big money to pay somebody for a story, right? Because of situations like this. Number one, they might, if you pay them and you start paying them for a story for a quote unquote exclusive, and then they tell you what they want to tell you, and then they go to another blogger and tell them, another story, or they tell them more of the story or something like that, that kind of bombs your paid exclusive, right? So if you're going to have, somebody on, give them the interview, right? If they need all this money, you can kind of turn that down. And you can get the interview from them and then let them, go on to whatever other bloggers that they're going to go to. So in this particular case, though, Nosy, according to Jag, Nosy wanted her to be exclusive to the Nosy's channel. And Jag was like, well, you ain't paying the cost to be the boss for something like that. You're going to have to, no, you're not putting up no bread for that. In a case like Jag, I can kind of see for her why she would expect to be paid, right? But just in this world alone, most bloggers are not paying people for these exclusive interviews. They're just not. Okay. They're kind of selling themselves short by doing that. And so they're not paying, and if they are, they're not talking about it publicly. Right. So ultimately, that is how they fell out. And Nosy then went and leaked a conversation that the two of them had. Now, I was on the fence about that, right? Because it all depends on the context. I mean, I've had to leak conversations I've had with people as far as like text messages to prove a conversation, as far as a email to prove a conversation. I've had to do that, okay? But I never would go and just try to out somebody and just leak text messages just to put somebody out there. I would never go and try to leak emails just to expose someone. I would rather, if you tried to expose me, right, or tried to say something about me, and make me look like a fool, and I have evidence of the opposite, then I might leak something like that. Okay. But I'm not the type of person that's going to record conversations and, keep stuff in tuck just in case I might have to use it against you. There's a real kind of sickness that comes with that, right? Like if you really always feel like you have to have something on someone, or if you feel like you have to have something on tuck for somebody, just in case. In a situation like that, if you really feel like you have to be doing that, in all honesty, you shouldn't be dealing with that person at all, right? Like there's no reason to be dealing with somebody if you feel like you got to keep some information on them on tuck just in case, quote unquote, because the just in cases are there because you obviously don't trust that person for whatever the reason may be. Okay. It could just be trust issues within you. It could be trust issues with that person. You don't know. Right. But either way, if you're having those types of trust issues, okay, where you feel like you need to keep something on that person just in case they, you gotta leak something on them. That's just crazy thinking in itself, right? I mean, people keep emails and text messages anyway. Most people don't erase, text messages and emails on a regular basis unless you're hiding something. But in regards to like recording an actual conversation that you're having with someone without their consent, that is a whole nother ball game there, right? Because now, again, like I said, you're kind of setting that person up for in the event of, or in case of. And again, in that type of case, you probably shouldn't even be fooling with that person to begin with if you got to go that far. But that is what happened with the situation, allegedly, between Nosy and Jag. And those are my thoughts on it. I really thought that it's, like I said, I was rooting for them as friends, whatever, and wanting them to go far and do the things that they do. They had a beautiful thing happening. Jag has her own podcast as well. Nosy has her show, and they both have their own followers. But ultimately, I think they could have done something beautiful together had they both had the same mentality towards the situation, right? Like if there wasn't one that was plotting in case something goes wrong, right? And that kind of speaks to Nosy and her relationships with people. Like, has her relationships been that way, right? Has it been where, she feels like she has to record a conversation if you have a conversation with her? Or was it just Jaguar that she felt that way with, And if it was, why? What would be the reason? Because the only reason that you would want to record a conversation with a person when you're talking to them and without their consent is literally because you don't trust them. That is literally why you would be recording a conversation with somebody, right? So if she didn't trust her, she probably shouldn't have been working with her. And that's just how I feel about that. But shout out to both of the ladies. I wish them the best, and I hope that things will go well for them. You said sounds like the sector. What's happening? Make a change. Yeah, it does sound a bit like the sector with the two of them. But again, like I said, if I'm going to, in my case, like if I'm going to leak somebody's stuff, like leaking a text message that happened or leaking an email or something of that nature, for me, it'll be something that you've already tried to leak and tried to say, it was this way or it was that way. And I'm going to prove you wrong. So in a case like that, it's understandable, but I've never recorded people's conversations without knowing. There's a big difference in let's text each other and let's talk, or let's email each other, as opposed to we're talking on the phone and I hit the record button because I don't trust you. So yeah. You said, hey, Conscious Energy, I appreciate you being in the building. You said Grand Rising, peace and love, Conscious Energy. Hey, Sexy Toy Lady, I appreciate you being in the building. You said she records everything. She said that the other day when she was dragging her ex-girlfriend, she was dragging Ashley, yeah, and she does. Nosy be doing the most sometimes. She really do. I like Nosy. I actually fuck with her channel, and I've done several videos about Nosy in the past. In regards to different things she's talked about, from All About the Tea to you name it. And I always get lots of views on those videos because Nosy has a very large following, probably about, I think it's 35,000 subs or so. So she has a really large following. Lots of people come over and check her out. And she's on various platforms as well. So, but yeah, Nosy be doing the most. She be doing a whole lot. But she gets up there with, the big bloggers, and she gets even into the celebrities. She had Nicki Minaj suing her right now. So it's crazy. But but anyway, shout out to, again, both of these ladies. I hope that and wish them both the best. And I hope that things go well for them. Going to play a quick 2-minute timer while we get into the Poetik Flacco story. But before I do that, I'm going to read some of the comments from yesterday, from the video from yesterday. So yesterday I did a video called Sector News, Poetik Flacco and No Jumper. What the hell just happened? And I got a lot of feedback on that video. So we're going to go ahead and read some of the comments from that. And then we'll get into the new Poetik Flacco debacle that is just come up on Reddit, on Reddit, No Jumpers Reddit. Okay. So shout out to Brown Sugar Baby. I appreciate her. She said, another thing I believe a lot of Africans do, like separating themselves from Black Americans. I've seen it so many times. I knew he was from PA. His accent told it all. Black Americans know your accent. Yeah, I definitely knew he was from Pennsylvania just from some of the words he uses, war, and all kinds of stuff. There's certain words that, Philly niggas just use. And Darby people, it's kind of the same. It's right. It's not the same town, but it's literally right outside of Philly. So yeah, like people in Darby are going to have the same kind of tone, the same kind of conversation. They're going to talk the same way. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that Flacco used to say that it didn't surprise me when he said he was from Darby. And you said, hey, T-Pre, you said, Brown Sugar Baby also said, hello, T-Pre, could be self-employed and has to fill out his own taxes. I've worked as self-employed before, and you don't have to give them nothing but identification. But I watched and I feel like Flacco is taking too much from them. Flacco has his issues, but it's going too far. I also believe he's not telling the truth about everything, but that's his personal life. However, if people know him, that's different. Yep. So I agree. I think the biggest problem I had with the situation is the fact that the questioning itself was coming from the top. It was coming from Adam, and he was asking Lush and them to question Flacco and to call and to take comments from his friends and different things like that. And yet Flacco would have either, whether he had, like I said yesterday, whether he had a 1099, which would have made him self-employed with the business, or if he had as an independent contractor, or if he had a W-2, which would have made him an employee, okay, of the business. Either one of those situations, he would have had to provide identification, to Adam in order for Adam to fill out paperwork and send it to the IRS, letting the IRS know he has a new employee. Okay. So I'm not sure why Adam is questioning this man's identification unless either the IRS has given him some red flag on the situation, right? Or, something else has come up. But even if that is the case, how unprofessional is it to air that information out in the public? I get it that there are podcasts. It's kind of like anything goes on their podcast. It's kind of a bunch of stuff that happens. But how do you go stabbing each other in the back? Now, I can understand, like with the Gina thing, where when Gina and Flacco were running and Gina fell, that wasn't really a drag. You know what I mean? That wasn't really a stab in the back. That's just something that kind of happened. It happened on video, and the trolls went ham and went in and started dragging her. Okay, that was a completely different situation. With this situation, it was them dragging Flacco, okay, on video and doing it in front of millions of people. Like that's crazy. No Jumper has like millions of subscribers, okay? And there's millions of people constantly interacting with that channel, whether it's on different platforms or, here on YouTube and in other spaces as well. So it makes no sense to me that Adam, this would come down the pipeline from Adam, and then they would carry this out. So yes, I definitely agree that there's something fishy in regards to that matter. A Spoonful of Sugar says, the punishment did not fit the crime, period. A special FU award can be delivered to Adam for being a horrible, musty employee. He's messy for texting Almighty Suspect and Lush what he wanted them to do while they were talking to Flacco. Exactly. A dusty honorable mention will be thrown to the angry cashew nut-shaped DJ Academics for even thinking he can talk with a deep voice. The microscopic beta really thinks he matters. That's all I got. Flacco will rise again. Shout out to AD for the video I saw today on No Jumper and him cussing the group out. Now, I did put a like on that because I really did. I did commend AD for trying to piece up Flacco and trying to stand up for him and say, y'all was dead wrong for that, because they were. Okay. I know Flacco has a past, and we're going to get into that in just a second. But again, they are a team, and they hired him after doing investigation on his identity, right? And so therefore, they need to deal with whatever issues they got with his identity in-house, because that would be the only way they technically can, right? And if Flacco really wanted to, he can file a lawsuit against them for this stuff, especially if he actually is who he said he was and he gave them the proper information. So, just because this is his employee, not because they're, people that work with him. This is Adam hired him, literally. So, yes, I absolutely agree that Adam gets the Dusty FU Award of the year. And that's facts. Clark says, like I said in the No Jumper chat, that ish was horrible. Granted, Poetik Flacco has done a lot of stuff. However, why are these people interested in his ID status? They didn't hire him. Adam did. And if he thought there was an issue, he should have been the one investigating or their HR department. Adam has done worse than Poetik Flacco, apparently. So how about he go focus on himself? Poetik Flacco sought No Jumper and Adam out, and no doubt Adam was aware of Poetik Flacco. So to now do this makes him look even more horrible. Poetik Flacco never needed No Jumper. He never did, but I guess he was too impatient. Despite everything, wishing him the best, and he needs to apologize to a lot of people. Those people are horrible, like a lot of people on social media. But it is interesting how everyone is so perfect when they want to point at others. Like someone said in one of the No Jumper comments, should someone be questioning Adam with his past situation with the girl? And then she said she loves Philip Bailey in his falsetto voice. And then Gator Girl says, and shout out to Gator Girl, she says, really sound and good advice. If Adam really did order that exposing he's trash and Poetik Flacco should get away from that platform. Bosses who let employees be abused, Poetik Flacco was spit on and then be essentially doxxed by fellow colleagues is wild. Got to side-eye everyone at that platform. There was a few of them that were trying to say on the show that they really didn't want to see that happen to him, right? But Adam was like, he doesn't think it was bullying. Like he was standing like 10 toes on that. Like, this is not bullying. This is not bullying. Bullying is such and such, and bullying is such and such, but this isn't it. I think Adam has become so like, what's the word? So insensitive and desensitized to bullshit like that I think that he really does believe that that's not bullying. And it absolutely was bullying. Now, unfortunately, though, there has been quite a bit of past situations that have happened with Flacco, okay? And we're going to talk about that. But before I do, I'm going to play a quick 2-minute timer. That way I can do a little bit of housekeeping. So, and then we're going to go ahead and get right into the No Jumper Reddit that's been going on, and that is causing Flacco some problems now. All right, so let's get right into it, guys. So shout out to Shock and Raw Exclusives. Let me go ahead and read your comment. You said you can't sue your employer for lying to them about your identity. That is very true, which is why I said that if, unless the IRS actually said, and gave Adam some type of red flag and said, hey, who the hell is this? You know what I mean? Then, we can't really say that. But there are questions, though, in regards to whether that's the case, right? And if that is the case, though, then that's something that their HR department should have handled in-house as opposed to putting that public, right? But what if there is a question in regards to his actual identity? And that is an actual legitimate question. The reason why is because in multiple spaces, Flacco has been very evasive about who in fact he really is. Okay. It could be many, many reasons for that. We don't know what the reasons are. It could be the fact that he is an immigrant. It could be the fact that his mother is an immigrant, or his mother was an immigrant and left him here and wanted him to lay low, and that didn't start happening. It could be the fact that because he's not used to working in the Americas. He's not used to, how that works. That in fact that he did lie on that information, not realizing that that's a federal offense, not realizing that that's a serious crime. It could be, but again, I'm speculating, right? So I don't really know that. What we do know is that Shock and Ra Exclusives, aka Shock and Ra Allah, had a video a long time ago. And in that video, he talked about the Poetik Flacco story exposed. Okay. That video did not get a whole lot of traction on YouTube. It got enough traction. Okay. It got enough people that watched it, but slowly over time, and as content creators like Shakim and I know, that the replay value on a show is much better than actually people watching the show right then and there. Okay. It's usually the replay gang that comes back that gives you all the views and that gives you the revenue on that show. Okay. So what ends up happening is people started sharing Shakim's video, and they shared it so much that people started sharing it to the No Jumper Reddit. So Shakim's video came up where Flacco was talking trash about Vita V's daughter. Okay. Now we all in the sector remember when that happened. There was multiple people, including myself, that gave Flacco a lot of pushback on that. And, of course, Vita V, we all remember the infamous cuss out that Vita V gave Flacco over that. Okay. That video is now viral on Reddit. Okay. That video is all over the place. And I want to talk a little bit about that because, we're in this sector here over in the Umar sector, the AKA sector, the narrative sector, whatever we want to call it nowadays, right? And people kind of hang out around here and kind of do what they want to do and say what they want to say and feel what they want to feel. And we don't think about the consequences of those things later. Like we don't think about how that may come back to bite us on the ass later. That could be any of us, including myself, right? And when you come across real opportunities like this, even though I'm very much on the fence about this quote unquote opportunity with No Jumper that Flacco is experiencing right now. But when you come across large platform opportunities, right, it may be that you have said something in the past that may come back to bite you in the ass, right? I don't think that No Jumper is going to get rid of Flacco because of it. I don't think that he's going to, be fired because of what happened and what he said. But I do think that us as content creators in this space, in this particular sector, tend to think that what goes on here also goes on in other spaces, right? Not that I'm saying that it doesn't. Like to a certain it does. There's beefing going on in other sectors. There's doxing going on in other sectors and so forth and so on. But it's not acceptable per se in other spaces, okay? In this space, what is considered acceptable, things that we have been desensitized to, other people are not. So you saying stuff like, oh, the things that he said in that video, the trolls around this tight, small little space are going to be like, yeah, and think that shit's cool. And then you go somewhere else talking like that, and they looking at you like you crazy. Okay. And, and this is what I mean about this space. This space is a very toxic place. There's, a lot of stuff that happens and that is considered okay in this space that if you take this on the road and you show some other people, you'll be surprised the reactions that people have. So now people who really did support Flacco and really did, had a problem with him being bullied the other night on the show are now saying something totally different. And I'm going to read some of those comments to you guys because I thought it was crazy. And there was a lot. There was 100 some comments on here. But it just says, bruh has such a dark and decrepit internet past. It said, makes sense why he'd hide. It says, hell no. And Stefan Katana was all up in this chats too. He had a whole lot to say. Shout out to Stefan because he was damn sure in there. Also, Defraud and Charlatans was all in there too. But he was kind of on the fence. You know, I don't think Defrauding wants to see this happen to him. He said, hell no. He said, go dig up your daughter. He's a piece of ish, honestly. And it says, you shut the F up, you double neck nigga. Everybody remembers when Vita V said that. He said, I don't know how people defend this guy. And they said, damn, it's game over for you, Flacco. Nut ass, that's Philly slang. It sure is. Bitch, shut the F up right. It's crazy. I'm listening to a podcast talking about him being a Liberian scammer. Shout out to Flacco. Shout out to Shaquem, a Liberian scammer selling fake loans right now. LOL. I tried looking up a PA court search, but couldn't figure that out. Like the one for Wisconsin is cat. Where can you see case files? And then there was some responses to that. Hold on. It says he admitted his cousin was a Liberian scammer too, so it's believable at this point. And then it says, where is that at? What podcast? Please link that. I'm interested. I don't think their voice is loud enough though. That came from Defrauding. And then it says, when you search his real name, Menyango Topka, on Google, a bunch of court shit comes up. If you scroll down, it's some dude, Amin Ra, or some shit from 2020. You got to skip like 30 minutes or however long the music is. And then Defrauding says, yeah, I know him. The problem with his credibility is he mixes facts with lies, information. Once people hear a lie, it turns them off and all of the information. Stands magnify attention to the false stuff to slip away from the facts. Some of you all will be great future detectives, though. Real talk. That is real talk. Because they found that shit like as if, wow, right? Here comes Prince of Sheba, which is Stefan. You know it's true about Flacco. If y'all need any background info on Flacco, I know him. My YouTube and Instagram is Stefan Gattano. I think they should be pointing them to Shaquem, considering Shaquem is the one with all the information and all the, the stuff. But I don't want to see any of this stuff happening. But since it's happening, like, hey, it is what it is. And then somebody else says, wow, this fat stuttering coward out here, just like his daddy AK, talking big shit on the internet and cool threatening women. When a man in his face, he pussy and got his defense team crying that he is getting bullied. This is the man y'all saying is getting bullied. And he got a whole lot of likes on that one. And then it says, White Knight's going to say they was bullying him on the call, though. And it says, this needs to be at the top of the sub. Why Flacco ain't never had this same energy for Sus or Gina when they were getting on his ass. Wow, Flacco, you effed up, bro. You talking about a little girl. What the hell? This is you. This is why you getting the karma now. Yeah, bro, people been saying this. Shaquem Ra been on his neck. And that was clearly from somebody here. And then it says, what the F? And he still has people out there defending him and saying he's been bullied. Come on now. And so look right. Oh my God. It's one thing to talk to another grown woman and argue with her, but another to talk about her daughter under a tombstone. The F. Now that is a prime example. That message right there is a prime example of the public. People don't frequent this sector, right? And don't see this fuck shit that happens in this sector on a regular basis. These people hear these types of conversations and they're like shocked, right? But Flacco, before he said that to Vita V, I want y'all to remember. Flacco, prior to that conversation with Vita, Flacco had been talking like this. He had been having these types of conversations about Black women, about this, about that, about the other. And nobody tended to have anything to say, right? Nobody kind of wanted to say anything. Everybody just kind of ignored it. Everybody just kind of said whatever. And now that he's out here in the public, and the public has, like nobody ever tried to tame this kind of conversation. It was just a kiki, ha ha, laugh, record, get views. And now this whole thing is out there for everybody to see. It's funny because of how many people were on that panel. There was multiple people on that panel. It was Conscious Energy, DJ Drama. There was several people that had ended up on that panel. We on Lock, all kinds of different names and all kinds of voices and names showed up on there, and the narratives that could be spun just from that show alone is crazy. But my thoughts are, I wish Flacco the best. I still wish him the best. I don't want to see him fired. I still don't think he's going to be fired over this. No Jumper just tends to love the drama. They love to see the fuck shit go on. It's just Adam literally doubled down on that, saying that they are going to continue to roast each other and continue to do the things that they do. And, if you don't like it, you can kick rocks, basically. So that's pretty much where he's at with it. And that's the kind of environment that they have. So I don't think that they're going to get rid of him. But I do think that this could be a big lesson for not only him, but for us as well. We need to watch what we're saying, and we need to watch what we are allowing on our platforms, right? Because not only could it, come back to haunt the content creator in the ass, it could also come back to haunt the person that's on the show, right? And what they've been saying. And even the people that are on the panel may be, it might be those people might even be added to the beef or added to the drama just because they were on the panel at the time, right? And nobody likes to be guilty by association. I think that's the worst thing in the world, to be considered guilty by association. But unfortunately, that is what happens. It's human nature to automatically group people together and put them in some type of group, even though, we got to stop doing shit like that. But ultimately, I do want to see this man winning, and I don't want to see him go through that. Chat Lives, you said, Almighty Suspect fought a dude on camera. The show puts gang culture on a pedestal. Flacco lying about his personal business is small potatoes, in my opinion. I totally agree with that. Like, I really don't think it should have been public. I do think, though, that, if he did lie to Adam in regards to his identity, that is a much bigger problem that Flacco has than what the public thinks about him on No Jumper, right? I think that's a bigger problem. And I think he needs some education on that, because he may not be educated on the American working system. There could be very, very many reasons for that. And yes, I do absolutely believe his personal business of where at school and what high school he went to and who he was dating in high school, all that stuff, that shit is personal, and it really doesn't have anything to do with the show, and that's my opinion as well. Grand Rising, beautiful Bernice, I appreciate you. You said good morning to everyone. What's up, Make a Change? I appreciate you. You said Flacco is as big as he's going to get on No Jumper. Time to move on. Yeah, I don't know. It's possible he could get bigger, but I think Flacco would do better on his own. Now that he's already gotten the exposure, he's already gotten the followers, once you got, and this is kind of something I want to touch on too, because, drama is not always necessarily a bad thing on YouTube, especially if you talk to some larger content creators. They will tell you that. I've heard this from the lead attorney. I've heard this from many larger content creators that will tell you, even though we've got people who are smaller content creators and in smaller spaces, you think it's so awful if some information is heard about you, or you think it's so terrible if you react, or if you say something, or if you go on live and you talk shit and you cuss somebody out. No, in actuality, that helps you in the algorithm. That is just the nature of the beast. It is the nature of YouTube, literally. Drama drives you, okay? Now, you can't have all drama, right? But once you kind of get those eyes on you, you got to keep the ball, okay? Because now you got all these people watching. You got to keep the ball. Now you got to go ahead and come out with your content, or come out with something else or whatever. So I do think that he could recover from this. I think that now that he's got this large following, and he's got people that are going to fuck with him regardless, even with this new thing that's come up, I think he should go out and venture on his own and not even deal with them anymore. And so I do agree that it's time to move on. And Make a Change agrees too. You said, it's all your fault, Make a Change. Shakim, you said, I disagree. Street niggas do background checks too. Yeah, that's true. And he probably could have done a background check on him, which is, kind of speaks to Adam. I mean, that's kind of his and his company's fault if they didn't do a background check prior to hiring him on, as an employee. And if they did and what they got came back, then they got to stand on what they got, right? So I agree with you on that. I do think that they should have done a background check on them, and perhaps he really would have uncovered whatever it was that he was looking for right then and there, and we would be avoiding this whole thing right now. You said he can't be out there by himself like that. Them dudes are snakes. Yeah, I think it's bad that he's out there and he doesn't have any support, right? At least from what we can see. I do see that AD does seem to want to support him, which is a good thing. And I hope that continues, because he seems to be riding for him. So I like that. But then like a week before that, he was clowning Flacco too. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think he feels bad that Flacco called him and was crying, because he was really upset about that situation. You said Adam tried to hire the dude that spot on Flacco before Flacco, and dude turned it down because he wanted to build him his own platform, and he's downing that. Oh, okay. That's interesting. You said, hey, Eyes, I appreciate you being in the building. You said these other sectors are actually using our sector prototype. Y'all don't see what's going on? I do see that. I see a lot of sectors do, but they don't want to fuck with our sector because of the shit that happens in the sector. The stuff that happens in this sector, people watch. There's a lot of people that even watch in the clouds on my show. There's a lot of people that will hit me up behind the scenes. They don't want to talk. They don't want to come out the clouds because of the people that are in this sector. And they don't want to get doxxed. They don't want their job to be called and this kind of stuff. So people know what be happening over here, and they see exactly what happens over here. They just don't want to be part of it. And they do take parts of our sector and they take it to other sectors. You said, Make a Change. Yep. And Sharp interviewed him after, treating him like family. Mm-hmm. You said AD is a snake. He seems, but he's not. Okay. You said AD had it out for Flacco from day one. I did see where AD had did a video, and he had a thumbnail up maybe like a few days before this with Flacco with the fake cry and the fake tears coming out, and they were all laughing at him. And yeah, so AD ain't no better when it comes to bullying him, but I think it got to him that day. I think it really got to him when Flacco was calling him back to back, and he was crying and he was sending him photos and stuff. I think AD felt bad, like, damn, I didn't want it to get to this point. And I can understand that. Hey, Grand Rising, Jacqueline Cologne, good morning, you says. And Chat Live says 16 Shot'em is doing his thing at Make a Change. Yep. 16 Shot'em has always kind of been doing his thing now. You said Flacco need to take note. Adam did not hire him because of his talent. Adam is just trying to build a content farm. Yes, I'm glad you said that, because he kind of said it that way, right? He kind of really said it that way. And I want y'all to pay attention to who all his all the employees are that work in front of the camera. They're all Black people or melanated folks. Most of them are all Black or melanated people. And the people that are doing the production and doing everything else are not. Okay, like they're non-Blacks. And I'm like, wow, this is quite interesting that these people are put up here, and they are the ones that get roasted. They are the ones that go through all this stuff. But there really aren't, a whole lot of white folks that are, podcasters on there. There really are not. What's up, Vici? I appreciate you always being in the building. One of my longstanding members. You said Flacco came to No Jumper like a mark, and Adam has been treating him like a mark ever since. I agree. It's ridiculous what Adam is doing to him. And I hope that Flacco wakes up and sees it. I really, really do. I might take a minute, but I hope he sees it. I hope he knows his worth is much higher than what Adam is trying to give him. Make a Change. You said at Chat Lives, he is an AK. AK tried to explain that for Flacco. Yep. Academics did. You said at Make a Change, yep, he's paying them per show and keeping them all the monetization for himself. Millions of dollars, chat lives. Millions. This nigga is raking in big revenue for that podcast. And they are the ones that are in the forefront, and they are the ones that get, bear the brunt of the public. They are the ones that are bearing the brunt of the public. It's ridiculous. You said Adam gave Flacco multiple podcasts and it bombed in the ratings. Time to go. He's only good for content at this point, which is sad. He did give him multiple times to do different things within this podcast. But Flacco has been successful. To be fair, Flacco has been successful on his own. And, whatever that is, he needs to do that again. And, I understand, because you get writer's blog, like you get like a writer's block or a content block where, you really kind of don't know where you want to go or what direction you want to go, especially if you were expecting things to go one way and then it didn't go that way. And now you have to regroup and figure things out again. That definitely happens with content creators. So I could see, him, probably stepping back from this and figuring out which direction he wants to go in, and then going hard and going ham in the paint in that direction, and then making sure that it's him and he focuses on him, his content, and his voice. That's what, even with me, that's what I'm doing, right? I'm not going to focus on any of these other projects that I wanted to do and all this. No, I'm going to go ahead and focus on my branding, my content, my channels, right? And that makes much more sense to me than, to kind of keep going the same way. Sometimes you just simply have to regroup. So I agree that it's time to go at this point and to do something new. And yeah, they probably did bomb in the ratings, chuck him, because he had a bad, they made him look really bad on there. And he didn't help with his past either. I agree. So, with that, it is probably time to go and time to regroup and do something new. You said all his coworkers are using Flacco for content and he has no smoke for anyone but Lush. Yeah, that was a little strange to me too. Also, considering how we know Flacco from our past here in the sector, we know that he don't have no problem coming on and jumping up and saying shit what he got to say. He'll talk about your dog, your kids, your mother, everybody. So yeah, that was a little strange. I mean, it just kind of speaks to his character, maybe he's not as a tough guy as we thought. Clearly he's not as a tough guy as we thought, and that's just what it is. It is what it is. Everybody's not a fighter, You said Vici facts. You said Flacco has more views than most of those dudes on No Jumper, and that's why they want him out. He brought Black conscious folks to gangland. He definitely did. And he has some more people coming too. Actually, Conscious TV is supposed to come over to the No Jumper podcast and do an interview with Flacco as well. Tariq Nasheed has been on. He's had Young Pharaoh on there. He's had some big names, on the No Jumper podcast that got big views on it. But imagine if he had done this on his own podcast. But it's very understandable why he would do this on this podcast. But now that he has gotten that type of clout and he's able to, kind of rub shoulders with some bigger bloggers and rub shoulders with some bigger people and some bigger names, now he needs to go ahead and direct that to his own channel. Like let's just go ahead and direct that to your own podcast. Whatever contract he got with No Jumper, I don't know, he might want to go and take a look at it. Talk to a lawyer, make sure, and see if he can get out of that contract. If he can't, then, hey, he's going to have to fulfill that, which is unfortunate. And yep, Eyes, you're saying that now. You said, would you get dragged for 6-figure yearly contract? I don't know. It depends, right? It depends on what the dragging is. It depends on how far that dragging is going. For some of it, I might. But for some of it, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth, that. I don't. I'll be honest. And hopefully it is a yearly contract and he can get out of it within a year, right? And I don't know. I think he's been there for almost a year now. So hopefully he can get out of it, after this and just kind of move on. but I can't say that I would definitely be willing to be dragged in any kind of direction for six figures when there's other ways I can make six figures, right? You said, how do you chat lives? How much they get paid? That's a good question. You said Flacco has over 1 million views on No Jumper. Come on now. He does. He has a lot of views on there. He said Eyes Nation TV, when Sharp was giving an example, he used the number 1,500 per show. Okay. That's pretty interesting. And Shakem, you said Flacco got views for being in drama, but when it was time to his own podcast, they were not successful. Okay. And that's probably why it takes time to build those podcasts too, you know. You said time to do his own podcast. Okay. It does take time to build those podcasts too. You know, and if he's spending more time on not his podcast and spending more time on the No Jumper content, then he very well may not have as many views as he would with No Jumper. I mean, clearly No Jumper has over 4 million subscribers. So Flacco only has like 40 or 50,000 subscribers. So it's understandable. You said Shock Him exclusives. Exactly. He has an interview with over 1 million views with no drama. Oh, you said actually he has an interview with over 1 million views with no drama. And that's true. You said wishing the death of someone's mother and they pass away a year later says that he is an evil person that will never have any good in his life that is going to follow him forever. I do think that there are some things that you could say and do that really will have a very, very negative impact on your life until you clean it up. One of those things would be the disrespect of a child or the disrespect of an elder, right? Now, the elders can be, or disrespect of women in general, Mother Earth. So the elders can be a situation where, say that elder has been abusive to you in some kind of way. That spiritually still does not give you the right to be abusive to them, okay? And so you can't just go out doing certain things in life. With children, listen, any book that you read and any religious book you read or believe in will tell you about children and how treating children is like putting an iron around someone's neck and tying an iron around someone's neck and throwing them to the bottom of the ocean. That is how God touches and feels about children, or like touching the eyeball of God. We've all kind of heard that kind of thing. So there's certain things and certain energy that you will carry with you in life until you clean shit like that up. I really do believe, as Clark said, he needs to do a lot of apologizing. He might need to go on a little bit of a tour and come talk to some folks from the past, you know, and really clean that stuff up. And I do believe that once you clean up some things up, it will not continue to follow you. There are some things, though, you know, with children and stuff, for instance, that will follow you, unfortunately. You will still get, you know, stuff coming up every so often, you know, just for doing that kind of stuff. Yep, you said Rizza Islam was on there, Tariq Nasheed, Young Pharaoh. Yep, he's had a few. You know, a lot of people remember the 16 shot him one because he got spit on, but he did have some really good interviews on there. But unfortunately, the revenue will go to No Jumper, not to Flacco. You said he can get 1 million views, but his main job is to host his own podcast, and he hasn't proven himself to Adam in that regard. Actually, he did. He gave him the Monday show. It was Flacco that shot himself in the foot over the Monday show, right? He really could have done that and kept it like it was, kept things going the way that they did, but he literally kind of shot himself in the foot when he got rid of certain people. So when he started saying, no, I'm not dealing with Gina, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, it kind of messed him up. You know, he should have just stayed and stuck with it and then slowly faded new people into it. I think that's what he should have did. So actually he did have his own podcast on there. But unfortunately, that's what happened. You said Flacco should dive in on the Black conscious community content, fire up StreamYard and do some remote interviews, build his Rolodex for when he bounces. Exactly, chat lives. 100. You said he had some big name, but I don't think that was because of Flacco. They went because they get to be on a big platform. Yep, I agree with that. I don't think it's because of Flacco either. I think it's also because it is no jumper, but that's the point, make a change, right? Because if you're on a large platform, a person is hired to a large platform, right? That gives that person the ability to work with that platform as well as build their own brand in the process, right? They're gaining a following in the process. That following is going to transition over to their platform. So it really, doesn't matter what the reason was for why they came there. The point is he is the one that gave the interview, and the people are following him. They're following the, who he interviewed too, but they're following him. They notice he is the one that did the interview. So he can transition that same audience over to his own podcast. You said, now, if he can get them to his platform, exactly, then that is why it's crazy he burned his bridge with DJ Academics. Not really, because he can create his own lane. Like DJ Academics has his own lane and Flacco has his own lane. So he could actually go and not even have anything to do with DJ Academics. He can do this on his own. And even with them, they can beef with each other, and that would make both of them bigger. Like, really, for real. You said Toastmas. Hey, Diggable, I appreciate you being in the building. You said Toastmas, T-Pre, and chat fam. On the ID part, have friends and family from Africa. It's very common to have multiple names and identities. I'm just saying. Yes, that was another thing, because he does have multiple names, multiple identities. But I do kind of wonder, like, which one is who? And, maybe they're questioning which one is who. But again, if they are questioning that should have been handled with HR. You know what I'm saying? Not with the people, because there ain't shit we could do about it, right? We can't get the right ID and get the proper information. That would be something that HR would need to reach out to him about. And you said, hey, Eyes, you said, oh, okay, wow, chat lives. I remember a couple months ago, the cast was talking about getting a pay raise. Okay. You said Flacco's bandman Kivo interview got 1.6 million views. Yeah. He said, exactly. He keeps lying about, so that is going to follow him forever. Yeah. You said chat lives, but that's the rub, who they agreed to go and his smaller platform. That's why it's crazy that he burnt his bridge with DJ Academics, because AK might have done it. I think you're saying done it. But again, I do think that he has his own lane. You know what I'm saying? Like DJ Academics has his own lane. Flacco has his own lane now. Maybe about a year ago, it might have been like that. But Flacco has his own following. Like there are people, he has radical followers. He has people that are just going to support him no matter what. Even with this Vita V situation and everything else, they're still going to support him, right? So he has his own lane, and he can grow and continue to grow like that. He said he actually lied about it to Adam 22. Okay. And again, I don't know, but it could possibly be. I mean, especially considering that Adam is saying something about it, but it doesn't make sense that he would do that publicly. You said, don't forget about Flacco Docs, Max V, and his moms. Yeah, I remember that too. You said, make a change. Yep, I was thinking the same thing. You said, Karma is a bitch with a good-ass memory. Beautiful Bernice, girl. Karma is a motherfucker, and she got a hellified memory. Girlfriend don't forget a damn thing. You said, make a change. Thing is, Flacco's most valuable feature is that he respects his elders and is willing to humble himself. He could still get on with AK if he does it the right way. But don't y'all think he should try to do this on his own at this point? Do y'all think he should jump into somebody else's podcast? Like, I think he should be trying to build his own brand at this point. You said the new podcast with Babalam was canceled after 3 shows, and the BBC podcast canceled after 12. King Croc ghosted him. Yeah. I had wondered, Shakim, if that was because of all the drama going on with No Jumper in him, and they calling him stink and calling him all kinds of stuff. I was wondering if King Croc did that because he just didn't want to be associated. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense. Hey, TMK, I appreciate you being in the building. One of my long-standing members. Truly appreciate you, bro. You said, personally, I don't think Flacco ever needed a no jumper. He has the dedication and drive to be able to have his own podcast. F those exploiting culture vultures at No Jumper. I totally agree. I do agree with that. I think he can do this on his own. Chat Lives, you said, TMK, I think that real world outside his room experience helped, though. He got some good experience. Absolutely. He needed to be exposed to such a large platform. He also needed to be exposed to real trolling, right? He needed to really be exposed to, real pushback. And he also needed to be exposed to the differences between being on a large platform and being in front of a large audience, as opposed to this little tiny little family oriented like audience here, where everybody just kind of accepts Flacco for as Flacco is, just kind of knows Flacco and just kind of moves past him. In a larger space, that's not going to happen. You're going to be like, niggas are going to look at you like you crazy for some of the stuff you're saying and some of the stuff that you're doing. And you got to be mindful of those kinds of things. So yes, I do. I'm glad that he was able to get that experience. You said, Chat Lives, I agree with that 100%, because that is who he really is. I think a lot of this other stuff is an act. Yeah. How about that? You said, Chat Lives, I agree. And this is how life works. When it appears you're taking a fall, you're actually gaining experience to use for self-improvement. Hey, see, shout out to Dr. Bombay for coming through with the real knowledge, as he always does. Make sure that you guys subscribe to TMK Media, aka Dr. Bombay. He does have a couple of channels, as well as the Zen. If you can drop a link to your Zen channel in the description box, or here in the comments, so you guys can go ahead and check out his Zen channel as well. Bombay is always dropping that knowledge. And I'm going to read this again. He said, this is how life works. When it appears you're taking a fall, you're actually gaining experience to use it for self-improvement, right? If you look at a situation that you might be going through, or a situation that might be happening, it's not what you're actually going through. It's how you react to the situation, right? What are you going to do with what you're dealing with? Are you going to take it and use it as a stepping stone, or are you going to take it and use it as a boulder to knock you over and keep you laid down and keep you knocked over, right? Like, which one are you going to do with it? How are you going to learn from this experience? Life is literally about making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. How do you know something is a mistake unless you actually make it, right? That means you have to take risks. You have to go out here and you have to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. If it's successful, it's successful. If it's not, it's not. Try again, or try something new, right? And keep going. But you got to gain experience in order for you to self-improve. Great comment. Great comment. And you said, there are a million independent artists who own 100% of their publishing and everything. But when you heard of them, because nobody else can make money off of them, partnering, but you never heard of them because nobody else can make money off of them. Partnering is good. Absolutely. You said people kept downplaying his past. Karma comes at the worst times. Everybody thinks sex allegations are funny until it happens to them. Yeah, I agree. You said having your hometown, and what's up, Naps? I appreciate you being in the building. You said having your hometown audience cheering for you is a benefit too. He's got to embrace Darby. Yeah. I'm not sure why he's having some issue with that. Maybe one day he'll tell us, but he definitely, it is strange to me that, he tries to act like he's not, to the major public, he tries to act like he's not from there. And that he's from North Dakota. I'm not really sure why he's doing that. That is a little bit strange to me, but hey, I'm not him, right? You said, don't scream culture vulture. Now, everybody knew Adam was on the Mr. Rushmore of culture vultures. You said, if I choose to be a coon, I can't complain that I'm being treated accordingly. I only work for respectable employees for a reason, because they will go there if you let them every time. You are 100% on that one. I can't. And this is why I said, even with I's comment, I don't know if a six-figure, waving six figures in my face will allow me to go to these levels. I don't think so. I think my mental health is also just as important, right? And no, I don't think I could find myself doing that. You guys make sure you check out TMK Zen channel. This is the link for it right there. And make sure that you guys subscribe and make sure that you share the channel as well. You said exactly, Naps. You said, in other words, a setback is a setup for a comeback. 100% fact. Shout out to one of my favorite brothers who I talked to yesterday on the phone, who was able to tell me something like that. I was feeling pretty upset yesterday morning. And I did a reading, and I had a reading done for me as well. And I also got very deep into that reading. Those cards are still laid out. And yes, a setback is only a setup for a comeback. Okay. Shout out to you, TMK, for saying that. That's only confirmation to me. And that is a reading that came through yesterday as well. Chat lives, you said them Darby folks felt some kind of way about him not claiming them. I know that was like, wow, they was really in their bag about that shit. That was crazy. But either way, guys, again, I'm going to go ahead and end the show here. The bottom line is, hey, honesty is generally the best policy. If you can, be as honest as possible with the situation. Everybody tells a little white lie here and there, but some of this stuff is just a little over the top and is really coming back to bite him in the ass now. But also, be careful what you are telling people, what you are saying, what you are doing, because that will definitely come back and bite you in that ass, okay? Trust me, there's always tables that will turn. Always a new time and a new day and a new beginning and a fresh new beginning for the universe to pay your ass back for the fuck shit that you be out here doing, okay? I'm just saying. Appreciate you guys for always coming in. Make sure that you guys, again, hit that like button on the way out and make sure that you are subscribed and sharing, hitting that notification bell so that you know when we are always live, and also that you are hitting the share button, well, actually hitting the join button so that you can join us over in the lounge, okay? I appreciate all of you for coming in today. Shout out to all of the loungers that are watching, all 30 of you that are still here. Make sure that you guys hit the like button and make sure that everyone who catches the replay also does so. I will talk to you guys later, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Peace, guys, and thank you guys again for watching. Oh, and by the way, I do plan on doing another show. I'm going to talk about Gangsta Boo. I'm going to talk about some other situations going on, and I'm going to talk about addiction, okay? Because I really, really think that is a very important topic that we need to be having in our sector and in other spaces as well. Hey, Mikey, I appreciate you for being in the building. You said, peace, everybody. Good non-listed based show, Black Lounge Divine. Onward. Exactly, honey. Yes, we onward, loungers. We moving forward. Listen, guys, I will talk to you guys later. I truly appreciate you guys for being in the building, and shout out to y'all for all of your support. Thank you guys for watching.
Let's make a home. Make a home. I don't wanna go everywhere. I don't wanna go everywhere. Let's make a home. Make a home. I don't wanna go everywhere with me. Make a dollar, make a